humans. My name is Miracle. Today, we're going to be ranking The Walking Dead, Telltale slash Skybound's The Walking Dead video game characters today. I love The Walking Dead. I think The Walking Dead is one of the best video games of all time. I don't want to hear anything about it. I feel like The Walking Dead is such a good game. It does have its flaws, we'll get to that, but I feel like The Walking Dead is will go down in history as one of the greatest games of all time, in my opinion. Um, so, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, first off is a sim. A sim, I'm gonna put him in C. He's fine. He's average. He's okay. Not the best, not the worst. He's just he's he's there. Abel. I believe this is Abel. Yeah, Abel. I'm gonna put Abel. I'm gonna put Abel in C as well. He's he he's not the worst out of all the antagonists, but he's not the best either. Like I said, he is who he is. AJ, my son, AJ. Oh my God, I love AJ. Obviously, I love AJ. He's my son. Um, I'm tempted to put him in S, but I'm gonna put him in A, and here's why. Hear me out. AJ is so close to being an S, but I feel like he hasn't earned that spot yet. I don't know how to explain it. Like, of course, I love AJ with all my heart. AJ is my son. But I feel like he hasn't quite earned S yet. Does that make sense? Like, if I put him in S, that means he's on the spoiler alert. I feel that means he's on the same level of Lee and Clem. He's he's just as great as Lee and Clem? Not quite. He's like in the middle. Close. Close. He's not on the same level as his mama, okay? Or his grandfather. He's not on the same level yet. He's close. He's right. I would, if I had to put another tier, he's right in between. Right in between. I love AJ. I love how his character was developed in season 4. I think it was so well done. The shock factor was there. Clem just learning how to be a good mom and be a good example for AJ. Like AJ thinking the world of Clem, just seeking Clem's approval. That's one of the main things that I love about episode 3, I believe, is when I chose to shoot Lily. I don't know, like, the people who chose not to shoot Lily, but like Lily had to get clapped. It was a must, okay? But when 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 AJ is about to shoot Lily, he looks directly at Clem. He doesn't care about anybody else. He only cares about Clem's opinion. He wants Clem's approval. He doesn't care about anybody else. He wants Clem's approval. And like, oh my God, the mother and son relationship between AJ and Clem. Just just AJ's character and then and then AJ standing up and taking care of Clem and protecting Clem when she got bit and her leg sliced open. I sobbed. That whole entire barn scene, I cannot play or watch that barn scene without sobbing. Seriously, AJ is an incredible character. He's so close to being S. Not quite. He's right there. He's almost crossed the line. But for now, I'm gonna put AJ in A. But still, AJ, you know that I love you, right? You're my son. Next is his father, his biological father, Alvin. Without Alvin, there would be no AJ. So we have to give Alvin his props. Alvin isn't the best character, but he's okay for me. I'm gonna put him in the middle. He's average. He's average. And also, like I said, without Alvin, there would be no AJ. Same thing with Rebecca. Without Alvin and without Rebecca, there would be no AJ. So we have to give him his props. Also, he went out like a G. Have to give him his props. Give him his props, okay? Can't even remember what this guy's name was. That's how much I do not like him. I don't like it. I don't I don't like it. No, thank you. Um, Arvo. I'm not a big fan of Arvo either. Arvo was so flawed. One thing that made me so upset about Arvo is what the whole thing with either taking the supplies or not taking the supplies. Even if you don't take the supplies, him and his entire team still come after you. I'm like, I chose not to take the supplies. But even if I do, like the choice doesn't even matter. He still comes after you no matter what, which is so sick and so stupid. I'm like, I didn't take anything. I didn't do anything. Why are you coming after me? Leave me alone. If I don't support you, best not come for me. Okay? I'm just saying. And Arvo just I do have sympathy for Arvo. I do. I do have sympathy for Arvo, but the sympathy can only go so far when you're a traitor and you basically spit on all of us. Like I understand because Kenny and the rest of them treated him so poorly. I get that, but it's so messed up. I just feel like his character is so flawed. It really is. Could have been much better. Ava. I do like Ava. I do. I do like Ava. I'm gonna put her in the middle. She's average. She's okay. I do like Ava, but how the way that they did Ava was so messed up. There's no winning for Ava. She dies either way. Same thing with Trip. We'll get to Trip momentarily, but like it's just like the whole thing with season three. Season three in itself is flawed. If you guys want me to have like a tier list or a discussion about all the seasons of The Walking Dead, let me know because I'll be more than happy to give an in-depth like review of all of the seasons. Because boy do I have opinions, especially about season three. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna put Ava in B. Next is I can't remember his name, but I know exactly who he is, and I don't like it. I don't like him at all. At all. I don't like him. I think this is Stephanie from the 400 Days LP. Wait, no, it's not Stephanie. Who is this? I can't remember who this was. I know that she's from the 400 Days LP. I just can't remember her name. Her name escapes me. I'm gonna put her in below average. Fine, not the best, not the greatest, very forgettable. Obviously, is I can't remember her name. It's okay. Ben. I just have to say it. Take a deep sigh before I talk about Ben. Ben. I'm gonna put Ben in D. Like Ben is so unlikable for me. Ben, like, what makes me so mad? Ben could have been a good character, but what makes me so mad is that he messes up on multiple occasions. Like, it's okay to mess up once, but you mess up almost every time we go out on a mission. I'm like, child, get it together. Seriously. And also, the one thing that really set me off was when he was with Clem, baby Clem. I love it. When he was with Clem and they were surrounded by zombies or walkers, and he just ran off and left Clem on her lonesome. I was like, oh my God, you did not just leave my little girl by herself, surrounded by zombies, just like raw meat. I was so mad. I was like, Ben, don't let me get my hands on you because I swear to goodness you are done for. As soon as he done that and left my little Clem, I was done. Also, he was supposed to be watching when Lee left Clementine, or one of the choices to leave Clementine with Ben and Kenny, I was like, Lee, you know I love you, but why would you do that? Why would you leave Clem with the most incompetent people? Kenny just lost his wife. He's lost his child. He's off the rails. Ben is so incompetent in himself. He can't do nothing. Why would you leave Clem in the presence of these two people? So Ben goes into he's so unlikable for me. I really don't think there's a redeemable quality for Ben, to be honest. Another irredeemable person, Bonnie. I don't like Bonnie at all. She is a fake bitch. Bonnie is so fake. Like I said, the whole thing when she had Carver's men, we'll get to Carver in a minute. The thing when she had Carver's men come and capture the people in season two, and then she had the audacity to come up to Clem and be like, I didn't do that. And then to go off with Arvo and Mark and betray the group, like, girl, and then, like, was that not, you didn't have a reason for that? Like, she's like, I didn't mean to do that. You didn't mean to escape with Arvo and Mark either, huh? Right. Get out of my face. Um, who is this lady? I can't remember. I can't remember. I know who she is. I know she's from season one. And she's from Crawford. Other than that, I can't remember her name. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm bad at remembering names, child. She's below average. She's okay. She's not the best, not the greatest, very forgettable. There's that. Brody. I really like Brody. I do. I wish we could have seen more of her character. Um, I'll put her in average. She's okay. She's okay. Could have been better. Could have been worse. She's fine. Carly was a real one. Oh my God, Carly was a real one. Loved Carly. I'm gonna put Carly in A. I really, really like Carly. It's so unfortunate that she was clapped by the devil, Lily, but like Carly was a real one. I really like Carly. And I feel like if Carly was still alive and if Leah was still alive, Leah and Carly would be a thing. I know it for sure. Next is Carlos. Carlos is below average for me. Um, Especially since he sheltered his daughter, Sarah. Like, it's so unfortunate. He's below average. And also another thing that makes me so upset with Carlos is that he's supposed to be a doctor, right? And Clem got bit by my baby Clem. Clem got bit by a dog, and he's like, "We can't be so serious, be a zombie by and he kept her in a freaking cellar to die. I'm like, at least give her a band-aid, give her some like Vaseline, something, give her some, give her something, some medicine, something. You just left her there to die, like. This is so messed up. He's below average. He's below average. Next is Carver. Oh my God, Carver. I'll say this about Carver. Obviously, I don't like Carver, but that's the point. You're not supposed to like Carver, okay? But I think that's what makes him a really good antagonist. I think Carver is a really good antagonist. I do. I do. I think he's a really good. And then when Kenny bashed his face in with a crowbar, ugh, he goes an A. He's a really good antagonist. Obviously, I don't love Carver. That's the point. You're not supposed to love Carver. He's that what makes him a good antagonist. Okay. Next. I can't remember this guy's name. I know exactly who it is. I know exactly who it is. It's from season one. Um, I know who this is, but I can't remember his name, and I don't know why. But I like him. Let's put him in. Let's put him in D. Average. He's okay. I do like him. I do. He does play a part in Clementine's, you know, savagery. But he can't get all the credit. Lee gets all the credit, you know what I'm saying? But he does play a small part, a small part. Next is Krista. Oh my God. I feel like Krista is a very underrated character, and I also feel like she was a missed opportunity as well. It's like in season two, she just disappears. That makes me so mad. I need clarification of what happened to Krista. What happened to Krista? Did season two, episode one, what happened to Krista? I want to know what happened to Krista's baby. What happened to Krista? Did she die? Did she join a did she join a group? What happened? What happened to Krista? It was so messed up. And also, I feel like Krista could have been an antagonist. I feel like that would be a interesting twist if it was Krista instead of Lily as the antagonist. Um, but I'm gonna go with A. I like Krista. I do. I really like Krista. My baby Clem. We already know where she's gonna go. Do I need to say anything else? I don't think so. Clementine is a go forever and always. Thank you very much. Alright, next is Conrad. Um, where did I put Conrad? Hmm, Conrad's not one of my favorites. It's below average. Below average. Not one of my faves. Not one of my faves. This is one of the guys from the dairy. Don't like you. Goodbye. David. I'm not a huge fan of David either. Like I said, season three is so flawed. I'm not a huge fan of David. I'm gonna put David in C, below average. Not one of my favorites. Very flawed. Could have done better. He left his family, like, to join the military, like, and asked his brother to take care of his family. No, you take care of your own family, child. And then you get upset that your family is very distant from you and your wife is very distant from you. But child, you dug your own grave, literally. All right, next is D. This is from 400 days. She's fine. She's fine. Fine. Average. Fine. Doug I'm gonna put Doug below average. He's not the greatest. He's not the best. He's he's okay. Like every time when it becomes between Carly and Doug, I choose Carly every time. I'm sorry, Doug. Like Carly got the strap, and also Carly is about that life. Doug, just he's just there. Next is Duck. I do like Duck. I do. He's like I said. I feel like games always have that comedic relief. Almost, not every single game, but almost every game has that comedic relief. And I feel like Duck is one of those comedic reliefs in The Walking Dead. I really like Duck. He's goofy, he's weird, but I really like him. And he was like a goofy, weird friend for baby Quinn. I really like Duck, but his the whole thing with Katja offing herself and Duck being shot by Kenny Orley broke my heart. I think I sobbed when that happened. When I first played, it was heartbreaking. Um, I'm gonna put I'm gonna put Duck in B. I do like Duck. I do. Edith. Edith is just like I said. She's just one of those NPCs that's she's just there. She's very forgettable. She's like the lady from the why does the name escape me? I'm so bad with names. You know what I'm talking about. But she was there. Um, she's fine. Like she's not really a memorable character. Next is Eleanor. Eleanor, she's hmm, she's also below average. She's fine. Like like I said, she's not the greatest, not the best. She's fine, fine. But also, like, I start to dislike her. Um, I start to dislike her. Towards the end of season three, like, just ugh. Who's this lady's name? I forgot her name. Like I said, I'm so bad with names. I'm so sorry, y'all. Can y'all please remind me in the comments who the name of the people that I forget? Please. So bad with names. I'm so sorry. Um, I'm gonna put her in average. She's fine. She's fine. She's just fine. Next, oh my God. Next is Gabe. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Gabe. Um, ugh, Gabe is just so annoying. Like he annoyed me in every single episode of season three. Like he is just so unlikable. Like he's worse than Sarah. Seriously. Like I don't in my opinion, I don't think Sarah's that bad, but he's worse than Sarah. He is so annoying on a whole nother level. Like, oh my God. The ones that, like he's always talking about why did you kill them? Why did you kill him? Child, if I didn't kill him, he would have shot you. Would you rather me shoot him or he shoot you? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And then him trying to flirt with Clem and get on Clem's level. Child, you're nowhere near close to Clem. Nowhere near close. That's why you're all the way at D, child. And Clem stays on the top with her crown. Thank you very much. Right. Next up is Glenn. I wish we saw more of Glenn. I really do. I wish we saw more of him. Um, he's fine. just fine, you know? Um, I'm gonna put Glenn in, in, I'm gonna put Glenn in average. It's average. Fun. It's fun. Next is, can't remember who this is. I think it's from the Michonne DLC. Um, the Michonne DLC is also very forgettable. He's below average, which is so disappointing because I love Michonne. Like Michonne is such a bad manager, but the DLC was just so forgettable to me. Next, I know who this is. I just can't remember his name. He's from season one. Guys, y'all are gonna have to leave an entire list down, down in the comments of the characters I forgot the names of because I am so bad at names. Alright. He's 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 average. He's fine. He's fine. Not the best. Not the greatest. Next is James. I feel like James was a mixed bag. He was a mixed bag to me. He could have been one of the greatest characters, and he could have been one of the worst characters. Like, it's in between. He was a whisperer, which, like, he basically is like Tarzan for walkers. Like, he's like, but I will admit, when I first saw James, I was like, who is this? He was gonna be a love interest for Clem. But turns out he was the opposite for Clem. He was a nuisance for Clem, trying to tell Clem how to be a mother. I'm like, child, if you don't sit down, he's average. Like trying to say AJ's becoming a murderer and tell me how to raise AJ and how AJ's supposed to be. Child, you knew AJ for 5 minutes. I knew AJ for 5 years. Sit down. Jane. Jane, what can I say about Jane? I do like Jane, but I feel like Jane is so flawed. In many ways, especially in season three. Jane, um, I'm gonna put her in B. She's average. She's okay. She's fine. Next is Javier. He's the protagonist of season three. He's not terrible. Um, he's fine, but I just wish in season three that we could have played, got more fun story. Javier, he's fine. He's. I'm gonna put him average. He's fine. He's fine. Um, next is this evil lady here, Joan. I could not stand her. I'm telling you. She is one of the blandest antagonists. So forgettable, so annoying. Like in my playthrough, I literally shot her just to shut her up. I'm like, child, shut up. Oh my God. Try so hard to be a dictator. Next is Kate. I'm not the biggest fan of Kate. Like, a lot of people, a lot of people romance Kate in their playthroughs. I'm not, um, I'm not the biggest fan of Kate. Like, she got on my nerves. I'm gonna put her below average. And then she has the audacity to try to break up the relationship between Javier and his brother David. Like, Like, is Javier a great guy? No. Is David a great guy? No. But that doesn't mean you should be manipulative and be like, just because you are so over David and you hate your marriage to David to go after his brother. That's so messed up. And like I said, me playing as Javier, I wouldn't cheat on my brother's wife. Like I wouldn't cheat on, like I wouldn't do that. Like I wouldn't. Like Kate just got on my nerves. She was so annoying. Like, ugh. And then like the fight between Javier and David was all because of Kate. Like I don't like Kate. I'm not a big fan of her. Katja. Oh, Katja. She's such a sweetheart. Such a sweetheart. Um, I'm gonna put Katja in the B. Like I said, her like when she offed herself after seeing Duck about to turn into a zombie, I sobbed. Like, oh my God, so heartbreaking. And but she, like, you never thought that she would do that because she's such a sweetheart, and she tried to cheer everybody up and try to reassure everybody else. That's honestly just like real life. Like, you never really know what someone's going through. You never know. It's crazy. Um, like I really like Katja. I do. Next is Kenny. I feel like this is a very unpopular opinion. Um, I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny. Don't throw the tomatoes. I know a lot of the fandom of The Walking Dead worship the ground that Kenny walks on. I understand that. I know that a lot of people in the Walking Dead fandom think that Kenny is the GOAT. I understand that, but I think Kenny, for me, is very average. And let me explain why before you throw the tomatoes, okay? And before you hit the unsubscribe button, just let me explain, okay? Kenny, for me, is he's a back and forth. He's back and forth for me. One day I can really love Kenny. The next day I can't stand Kenny. That's kind of the dynamic between Clem and Lee. Like sometimes he loves Clem and Lee to death. Other times he can't stand Clem and Lee. Like he's very unhinged. That's what I would say. He's very unhinged. But it's understandable because he lost his wife, he lost his son, he lost his other girlfriend. He lost almost everybody in his life. I understand that. But so many other people lost people in their lives, like Clementine, Lee, Krista, AJ. Like so many people lost so much in this apocalypse. So, like, it doesn't excuse his behavior, in my opinion. Like, Kenny is very wishy-washy for me. Too wishy-washy for me. I understand a lot of people love and adore Kenny. I get that. Some days I think Kenny is the absolute GOAT. Some days I can't, I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny and I can't understand him. So I'm gonna put him in average. I don't throw the tomatoes, please. Please understand where I'm coming from. I'm not the biggest fan of Kenny. I'm not like I understand the Walking Dead fandom. They adore Kenny. I understand that. But like I just feel like Kenny can be improved upon. I feel like there's some elements of Kenny that could be done better, especially in season 3 when he was done so dirty if you chose to go with him. Like, I feel like Kenny could have been better, in my opinion. I feel like, it's so hard for me to explain without sounding like a like a douche. Like I said, there's some days where Kenny is a S for me. There's some days where Kenny is a D for me. It's really back and forth when it comes to Kenny. It really is. So I'm gonna put Kenny in average for now. Please don't hate me. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Okay? Next, oh my God. Next is this bigot here, Larry. Am I the only one who thinks this? Larry just screams Trump supporter to me. Like you could just look at him and tell. Larry goes in deep. I do not like Larry. The moment I met him, he was a pain in my backside. I did not like Larry at all. My God, and also he was racist, which makes me even madder because I'm a black chocolate woman myself. I don't appreciate that. Sit down somewhere. Oh, Lee. We know exactly where Lee is going to go. Right up where he belongs, right next to his daughter. Love Lee. Of course, Lee is the OG of the OG of The Walking Dead. Like, I love him. His character, like his devotion to Clem, like especially the final episode of season one had me in tears, was so impactful. Loved it. Also loved the parallel between the last episode of season four and the last episode of season one. And also, if you guys want me to, also, I could do a video of the parallel between Lee and Clem. There's so many similarities between Lee and Clem, obviously, because, Lee pretty much taught Clem everything she knows. So there's like, if you guys would want me to do like a parallel between Clem and Lee, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that. But yeah, Lee goes right up with the queen and the king of The Walking Dead, where they belong. Next, I can't remember this guy's name, man. Another name to add to the list. I know, like, I'm gonna put him below average. Fine. Next, oh my God, look what the cat dragged in is Lily. She's going right next to her father. Can't stand her. Lily is so like I don't even know what to say about Lily. She just disgusts me. I can't stand her. She's nasty. Her like she tried to like her her killing either Carly or Doug because Carly or like was talking serious facts, or her trying to kidnap fans, try to kidnap Clem's friends, and try to Clem. I can't talk. What's happening? And tried to kidnap my son AJ. Yeah, you had to get clapped. And it's like, sorry, not sorry. You had to. Lewis. Okay. A lot of people don't like Lewis. And like I love Lewis. I really do. Every time I play the season four, I always choose Lewis over Violet. I know that's controversial, but hear me out. I love Lewis's goofiness. I love his comedic, side. I just love how he tried, like I said, there's always a comedic character, a comedic relief in games. Not every game, but some of them. There's a comedic relief. And Lewis with that, and I always chose Lewis over Violet because Clem is so hardened and so savage and so, you know, she's very tough and you know and Lewis is very goopy and I feel like it balances it out. They're so opposite that it works. Opposites attract. That's how I feel. Like Clem like is very hard and very, about that life. And Lewis is very, tries to see the bright side of things. Like Lewis brings out, the joy. Like he makes Clem laugh. He gives Clem a moment of peace. And then Clem brings him back in and brings him back to reality. Does that make sense? I feel like with Violet, speaking of Violet, I feel like with Violet, she's like Clem and Violet are very similar, so it clashes. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like Clem needs someone to bring her down to back to earth. I feel like Clem needs someone to just like help her just breathe and escape the toxic environment of the zombies and all the killing and the trauma and everything, just to make her forget that for just one moment and just like have fun and just, you know, just be chill for a moment, and then Clem can bring Lewis back in and be like, hey, we need to focus. We need to get back into it. Put our war paint back on. Let's go. I really like Clem and Lewis together. Like I said, with Clem and Violet, they're very similar. And also, Violet is all about Minerva. Like, as soon as Violet sees Minerva, she drops Clem like she's a hot potato. Like, seriously. Like, Violet, and also another thing with Lewis, if you choose Lewis over Violet, like, Violet is so resentful. She's so mad at you. She's angry at you. She wants nothing to do with you. She's all about Minerva now. Like, seriously. And, but if you choose Violet over Lewis, Lewis unfortunately gets his tongue cut out, but he's still so happy to see Clem and he still has a smile on his face. He's still so appreciative and so enamored by Clem, really. Like, he's still so happy to see Clem, even after all the things he endured and the trauma that he endured from being on the boat and dealing with Lily and all that stuff. He's still so happy to see her. Unlike Violet, who is resentful and just goes for Minnie and like forget y'all, screw y'all, y'all suck just because we chose Lewis over her. Does that make sense? And also I feel like a lot of people don't choose Lewis because of he's very cold towards Clem after Marlon died. But wouldn't you be? Like, L- Lewis is like Marlon is Lewis's best friend. Lewis has known Marlon for years. Wouldn't you be upset if your best friend got killed by this random person who just came up in this school? We don't know them very well and just claps your best friend. Wouldn't you feel the same way that Lewis felt? Just think about that. So I really like Lewis. I put him in A. I like Lewis. Like, I don't care what y'all say. I really like Lewis. And with Violet, I'm gonna put Violet in B. Like, Violet's okay. She's average to me. I like this might be controversial. I like Lewis more than I like Violet. Sorry, not sorry. Next, Luke. Okay, here's the thing about Luke. I have a few stories about Luke. Um, okay. When I first saw Luke, I was like, who is this hunk of a man? I thought he was so fine. I was like, oh my God, who is this? but obviously I had to turn it down a little bit because we're playing at Cliff, you know, so it's inappropriate. But still, like I was like, I was dancing it so hot. But but as soon as he dropped Clem, I dropped him. I was like I was so off for that. And then he accused Clem of being bit by a zombie when we tried to convince him that we were bit by a dog. And it's like it really put me off. And then throughout season two, I thought that Luke was a traitor. Like I thought he was doing something sneaky behind the scenes just for him to end up dying. And I felt bad. I was like, I'm sorry. Accused you this entire time thinking that you were a traitor and thinking you were working for the enemy just for you to die. I was like, I felt so bad. But one thing that did irritate me about Luke is that he not basically, he did. He went and got it on with this little tramp right here, Jane. He went and got it on while Rebecca was in labor, while we were getting chased by a horde. And like, in the middle of a zombie apocalypse? I was like, are you serious, man? Like, seriously, are you that horny that you had to get it in while Rebecca's in labor, we're running from a horde, and we're in a zombie apocalypse? Like, seriously, man, you were that desperate to get it in? Was it that serious? What was it worth it? Was it worth it? I'm just saying. Anyways, I'm putting him. I like Luke. I put him in A. I like Luke. Um, Another thing that I'm gonna add is I kind of wish that the fight between Kenny and Jane was between Kenny and Luke. Here's why. Because to choose between Kenny and Jane was fairly easy. Of course, I'm gonna choose Kenny. I was with Kenny longer. Like Jane, you just got here. Know your place, child. But like same, but Luke just got here as well. But still, I feel like it would be harder for it to be Kenny versus Luke than Kenny versus Jane because see Kenny as like a an uncle to Clem, and I see Luke as like a big brother to Clem. So I feel like that would have been a harder decision than Kenny and Jane. Am I the only one that feels that way? Like that's just my opinion. I feel like it would have been a way tougher choice to do Kenny and Luke than Kenny and Jane. Moving on. Mariana. Oh my God, Mariana. Mariana was done so freaking dirty, I can't even tell you. Okay? For what, like, for the amount of time, for the short amount of time she was in the game, I really liked Mariana. I feel like Mariana could have been on Clem's level if she would have lasted longer. I really do. I feel like her and Clem would have been like thick as thick as thieves. Seriously, I feel like if she was still alive, she would be right up here with Clem. Seriously, if she still if she learned the ropes from Clem, I feel like she would have been just as much of a savage as Clem. But sadly, she was clapped. I was so shocked by her death. Like she would just like pop goes the weasel. Like, are you serious? I was so upset. I was so irritated. I was like, we have to like you take Mariana from us. It's like, babe. Like I'd much rather have Mariana than Gabe. Like, seriously. Like, why? Why did y'all do that? That was so messed up. I couldn't. I was so upset. So upset. Mark. Mark is average to me. Mark is okay. But what's so messed up is that he became lunch. Like, oh, like, he became chopped liver. Literally. Like, oh my God. Like I felt so freaking bad for Mark. Um, and but like what's so weird is that he just popped up in uh, episode 2 of season 1, like just randomly, like we don't know much about this guy, but okay. And then he ends up being killed off. It's weird to me. But I think he's okay. He's an okay character. He's average to me. Next is Marlon. I do like Marlon. I feel like Marlon's a good antagonist. I do. I I liked his character. The whole scene in the courtyard was executed so well. The emotion, the tension, like all of it was so well done. And I feel like his character was well done, and I wish we could have seen more of it. But it was really good. I really like Marlon. I do. This little baby kid right here, not you, her. This little baby kid, I don't even know why she's in here, but she's going right down in the dump where she belongs. Okay. Like for killing my own meat and stuff like that. Like just my God. Girl, sit down somewhere. And when when Krista put those two barrels in her stomach, I was like, Krista, get it, girl, child. She did all that while pregnant too. I was like, girl, get it. I didn't feel 1 ounce of sympathy. I was like, girl, that's what you get. You shouldn't have been messing around with people's stuff and you shouldn't have killed my freaking husband. Go sit down somewhere. Next, I cannot remember this guy's name, guys. Oh my God. Another list, another name to add to the list. I can't remember his name. I know who it is. His name escapes me. Yeah, put him in average. It's okay. It's fine. Not the best, not the greatest. Fine. Michonne. I really like Michonne. But the DLC for Michonne was very underwhelming for me. Very underwhelming. Um, but she's still a savage just as much as Clem. But I don't know if I like her more than Clem and Lee. I put her in A. She's okay. She's good. I really like her. Not on the level Clem and Lee. I feel like if her DLC was done better, then she would be on the level of Clem and Lee, but not quite. Mark, I don't like him. I don't like Mark. Like he could have been a likable character, but then you had to go off and betray the team with trifling Bonnie and Arvo. I don't appreciate that. So you go down in the dumps with everybody else there. Thank you very much. Next is Minerva. I, okay, I have a love-hate relationship with Minerva. Here's why. Minerva is a really good antagonist. I feel like season 4 has really good antagonists. I really do. Um, I but the thing that I don't like is that you got my girl Clem bit, like because you sliced her freaking leg open. That was an easy way for the freaking walkers to infiltrate. Okay, they smelt that blood and was like, "I for lunch," like I would never forgive her for that. But if it wasn't for Minerva slicing open Slim's leg, Slim wouldn't, like, the infection would have spread way faster if her leg wasn't cut. Did that make any sense? Like, the blood flow in her leg slowed the process of the infection. And then my son, AJ, chopping off the leg, like stopped it. So yeah, like I have to give Minerva some props for that. I'll put her in A. I'll put Minerva in A. I'll put her in A. But like you're close to being to D for what you did to my girl, but still, like you also kind of saved my girl in a way, so I have to give you some props. Okay. All right. Next is Mitch. I think I'm gonna put Mitch in B. He's fine. He's okay. Not the best. What him the way he got clapped was so freaking messed up. Another reason why I can't stand Lily. That's why you're in the dumps right now. Mitch is okay. Um, he's okay. Uh, Molly. I really like Molly. I do. I just wish that we got more of Molly, and I wish that we got more of her character. I like Molly. I really do. I really like Molly. I just wish we got more of her, and more of her backstory, more of her character. You know. Next is Nick. Nick is very flawed to me. He's below average. He's very flawed. Like the whole thing on the bridge where he shot the guy when we specifically told him not to, really made me mad. Like he's below average for me. Not my favorite. He's not the worst, but he's nowhere near close to being the best. Um, yeah. I know who this lady is. I can't remember her name. Remember, add another name to the list. She's from the Michonne DLC. Like I said, the Michonne DLC, the 400 Day DLC, are so forgettable for me. So forgettable. She's below average for me. Not one of my favorites. Not one of my favorites. Um, Omar, I'll put Omar in average. He's fine. He's there. Not one of my favorites. He's just there. He's fine. He's fine. Fine. Not memorable for me. Omid. I really like Omid. Omid is like kind of similar to Lewis for me. I like Omid. I'm gonna put Omid in A. I really like Omid. He's the comedic relief. He knows that there's a zombie apocalypse. He's aware of that, but he tries to bring joy and light into a difficult situation, kind of like how Lewis does, and I like that. So Omid is an A. Um, Can't remember this guy's name from the Michonne DLC. Another name to add to the list. She's below average for me. Okay, not the greatest. Next, I can't remember his name. Pete. Thank goodness, not a name, another name to add to the list. Pete. I like Pete. I'm gonna put him in B. Um, he's fine. Average for me. I wish we got more of Pete. I really liked Pete. Um, yeah. This guy, I believe he's also from the Michonne DLC. He kind of annoyed me, I'm not gonna lie. He's a little average for me. Kind of got on my nerves. Tried so hard to be a protagonist. Tried so hard to be an antagonist. He wasn't the best antagonist for me. Very, very forgettable. Um, Rebecca. Okay. Like I said, same thing with Alvin. If it wasn't for Rebecca, we wouldn't have Alvin Jr. We wouldn't have AJ if it wasn't for Alvin and Rebecca. So I have to give her some props. Before, like when I first met Rebecca, I did not like her at all. At all. I did not like her. And then she tried to blame her snarkiness and her sassiness and her rudeness on her pregnancy. Child, that's not a reason to be rude to people. You were just straight up rude. So I was close to putting her at D, but she's average. She's fine. She's fine to me. Next is Rosie. I love this dog. I love this dog. I don't care what you say. I love Rosie. I love that Rosie rips the head off of walkers. I love how savage she is. I love Rosie so much. I don't care what y'all say. Rosie, I love her. I love Rosie. I love Rosie so much. Um, Ruby. Ruby, she goes an average. She's average. She's okay. Obviously, she is a vital part in the Erickson school. She's a nurse, so that's very important. I love that she helped out my son AJ and my girl Clem to health. I appreciate that. She's okay. Um, I think this is a guy from the 400 Days LP. I think everybody from the 400 Days LP, they're average. I'm gonna put all of them. I think this is the girl from the Michonne DLC. She's average as well. Um, I'm gonna put all the guys from the 400 Days DLC. I'm just gonna put them in average, just average to me. Um, Next is this dog. I cannot believe this. This dog is the reason why Clem has a fear of dogs, and also a reason why she has that gnarly scar on her. But like, it gave her experience. It gave her experience. But I still like the dog is a little. Alright, Sarah. Okay, a lot of people don't like Sarah. I understand that. But for me, I feel like Sarah's very sheltered, and I know what it feels like to be sheltered. I'm not gonna get into all that because if I do, I'll start crying. But Sarah is very sheltered, and but you can't blame it all on her. It's mainly Carlos's fault because Carlos keeps Sarah so sheltered. Um, he basically gave her an illusion of what the world was like. She doesn't understand that we're in a zombie apocalypse. Like, the world isn't rainbows and butterflies all the time. Like, this is real. Like, it's literally a zombie apocalypse. And Carlos shielded her from that, didn't want her to see the real world. And because of that, she wasn't prepared for the real world. And then when Carlos died, she had nobody to guide her, nobody to keep her in that fantasy. She was basically roped into the real world, not prepared for it. People tried to help her, tried to get her equipped for it, but because she's so sheltered and because she has such this illusion of what the real world is like, because of her father, she succumbed to it. Um, because of that, like, I'm gonna put Sarah in below average. She's not a terrible character. She's not. She's not a terrible character. She's not the worst character. She's not the best character. She's very flawed and could be better. This is Sarita. Sarita, Sarita's average. And like, she's also one of those characters that's just there, you know. She's Kenny's girlfriend. She's okay. She's nothing special, in my opinion. Um, this is I know who this is. Another name to add to the list. Average. Fine. Enough. one of my faves is just fine. Tennessee. I do love Tennessee. I really do. He's also one of those flawed characters as well, but different than Sarah. Like he wants to see the world. He knows that there's a zombie apocalypse, but he wants to. He's very optimistic. He wants to see the better in life. He's believed that something better is on the horizon, and I like that. Um, but he's also very flawed in a way that he he's just very. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I'm gonna put him in average. He's average. Trip. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of Trip. Um, he. I'm gonna put Trip in below average. I'm not the biggest fan of Trip. Very underwhelming. Like, just I'm not the biggest fan of Trip, in my opinion. Next is forgot his name. Another name to add to the list. I'm gonna put him um, in D. Not one of my favorites. Not at all. Very forgettable. Very annoying. Not one of my faves. Willie. I think Willie is funny. I'm gonna put him B. Um, I like Willie's fine. He's like he's funny. He has his funny moments. He's okay. So that concludes our list of Telltale slash Skybound The Walking Dead characters. Like, here's my final list. Like, if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to like this video, make sure to subscribe, and leave a comment. Writing prompt of the day. Who's your favorite and least favorite character of Telltale's The Walking Dead? I hope you guys have a miraculous day, and I'll see you later. Bye!